pilot program for how Bitcoin would be accepted or transactions would happen in Thailand. So that would be Phuket first and Chiang Mai second.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Halving Report podcast. I am your host, Brad Mines. I'm sitting here at Chiang Mai at the Bitcoin Learning Center with Jimmy Kostro. Welcome. Thanks for doing this today, man.
Cool, and this is great to be here.
The price of Bitcoin is 95.5 thousand US dollars. We're still 1,100 and some odd days until the next Bitcoin halving. We're going into what we all predict to be an exciting time in 2025 for Bitcoin. Just happy to be here in Chiang Mai. This will be the first interview I've done since I've been here. Really excited to get things kicking off in the new year here. So,
dude, it's super cool that you're doing it here.
Yeah, man, this is, I don't think there's a better spot to be doing it, to be honest with you.
Hopefully, if you spend more time here in Thailand, you do more of your podcast here.
I'd love to. This seems to be the perfect setup. You guys, thank you for setting this up to me, and I showed it to Neo for helping out. I'm gonna have to do a whole separate video where we just like walk around and show the building, because I think there's a lot going on here. You've done a lot here in Chiang Mai that I don't think is on the map really yet that much. Like, I see you guys are on Twitter, some people are taking notice, but I think it deserves more recognition than.
To interject, it's funny, like we have a really cool website. Our website's bitcoinchiangmai.org. It shows all the events and all the things we're doing. But we don't have like a Facebook page or our own Twitter page, or like, it's kind of like a cool exclusive thing. Mm-hmm. Like if you're a Bitcoiner and you're in Thailand and you're a real Bitcoiner, you'll find it.
Right.
Like, and there's some cool word of mouth thing about that quality. Mm-hmm. And we don't have to like have someone managing some social page and answering these questions. Like, our biggest problem is, I don't know if this is a problem, but we'll talk about the stuff we do here. But when we're working on the things we're working on, a lot of people come here, just come through. So like, you have to build your day or have like a buffer, or have like Neo around if I'm not around, or somebody like that can just, when you first came, I don't think I was here. Was that the first day you came?
No, that was the day before the Christmas party, and I met Neo here, and
similar, like people will come and everyone has a different understanding or idea of what the Bitcoin Learning Center is from their idea. And if everyone's working on something, you have to be really flexible for the visitors. And as the prices increase from 50, 60, 70, the visitors increase from 50, 67. So that's been a really cool, unique thing about having the space. But we kind of collectively said that we do need to get a gate. Like, if you look on Google Maps, you could do the least amount you could do is like put 1 hour. So I had that we're open from noon to 1, but real Bitcoiners, they'll contact you, and we're on, I'm on all of them, from Nostr and Telegram and Signal and obviously X. So it all comes together. And then when there's like an event, we make sure, like for our big events, and our events are pretty big, that we find out where we're communicating, where you're from. So maybe let's say me and Brad are connecting on Telegram. So to like the spreadsheet will have a Brad Telegram. That's it. Mm-hmm. So this way I know for the next event how to reach back out to you, or how Neo knows how to reach out to everybody.
Right. That's another thing too, coming here from the Western world, is I got about 25 new applications on my phone now, learning how to navigate international space over here. No, that's really good. You guys seem super organized here. You have connections to academia. You're doing a lot. But let's quickly touch upon 95.5 price. It's dropped. We were supposed to record an hour ago, but we had a little technical difficulty, so price has dropped $1,000 in the past hour. So how you feeling about Bitcoin right now? We did have a little bit of a bump in the past few months, a little bit of a dip in the past couple of days. How are you feeling about Bitcoin right now?
Yeah, I feel extremely bullish about Bitcoin right now. Like we were saying just before we came online, like, any big purchases or stuff are kind of on pause for a little bit. I do think that in addition to the cyclical nature of it, the Trump administration coming on in January 20th, I think is going to be a positive thing for Bitcoin. It'll help give a lot of clarity to the space. And I think that is going to be a big push. And if we look at like everything from previous times, January is really a big kickoff until the end of the year. And we know it's like kind of like that up, big, down, up, up big, down, and
It's two steps forward, one step backwards.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're about to go to the up big part. So I'm pretty excited about that. It was just yesterday we were 102,000. So like something feels a lot like lighter when you're above 100,000. Things feel kind of fun, like that number is really something that we've all, it's been a big number for us for so many years.
Right.
Like you said earlier.
Laser ray till 100K.
Yeah.
Remember that trend? Or
Laser eyes.
Yeah.
But I think some hardcore Bitcoiners like don't want traditional finance to get involved. But if you want mass adoption, you need to allow everyone to get involved however they deem fit. And they're going to come if this is the legitimate asset that it is. So, yeah, I mean, it's coming. They're coming. They're getting clarity. We're seeing more people adopt the Bitcoin standard. We're seeing more institutions. These purchases, like yesterday on January 7th, they bought $1 billion of Bitcoin, the ETFs alone, in one single day. I mean, that's like it's just under 10,000 Bitcoins in a day. 450 Bitcoins are mined in a day. I mean,
I was about to say that's a significant number when you start thinking about how much is coming out per day and how much some of these entities are purchasing on a single day. Yeah. You really start to realize the scarcity aspect of Bitcoin, which is, the most important property of money historically has been scarcity, and Bitcoin is super scarce. So very cool. But Jimmy, like you have a 3-level building here. You're looking to expand. You have a lot going on. Like how did you land in Chiang Mai?
Try to make a long story short, I was traveling in 2018, and then I came back to Thailand in 2020. In March of 2020, the goal was to come up to Chiang Mai on March 15th. But that's the same day I had to do a visa run across borders the same day as COVID happened. So they closed down all of the borders, and I had to go out of Thailand I got trapped in Laos for 8 months. It's a crazy cool story to talk off at a different time about, or on another
part two.
Super cool story. But then, so I searched where I could live in the world, because my for-profit organization in New York City is ran by a woman in Miami, so it's fully remote from operation standpoint. But the reason, one of the fundamental reasons I decided to move to Southeast Asia was for the weather, a lot like you. But I'd be able to stack significantly more sats, have a lower cost of living, and still while I have a Western income, I'd be able to buy substantially more Bitcoin.
Right.
So all roads led to like where in Thailand has the greatest infrastructure, where where you have Western, a lot of cafes, a lot of options, a lot of Western feel. And it's not, so I feel a little bit like home. I could go to the mall. I could go to places that are a little more familiar, so, and it ticked all the boxes. So it's,
right.
Bangkok's a little too much city, but here's the mountains and the nature. So I said, okay, listen, if we're going to be here for a while, we have to have an office, and the office was to start our foundation in 2022, which was an education-based foundation for disadvantaged children in the hill tribes. So we provided 4 English teachers to different orphanages around in 2022. So we're like, hey, really need to build like an office. And her father had this big grand building down here in the center of town that was just totally dilapidated. Like it was run down, and they didn't see any vision for it. And even when we came to check it out, like it was hard to see a vision for this place. Like the trees are growing in little rooms, and like the bathrooms, like for midgets, like you got to be like 4 feet tall, and you got to like duck to get in one, and like everything's falling apart and crazy. So we're like, man, this is such a great opportunity because it's a real good pillar headquarters spot. So let's start slow. We're in a cafe. We heard these 2 little new designers that just got out of high school, or just got out of university, and they're talking about trying to get their first customer. And so we're like, hey, let's just tell them we're trying to design something. Come over here. So we brought them to this building where all the plants and trees are growing inside of it. These fucking bricks were falling down, and and we're like, all right, so you see my vision? And like, we're not even translating, and it's all through translation device. So anyway, that's how we decided to transform the first floor. And then we had etched the whiteboard, which you got to see it down. You've seen it downstairs, but you got to show it on video. That was like our first like big thing. We got it. And here in Thailand, you could do a lot of things very cost effectively. So we got like really nice teak wood, engraved, big like 3-foot size white paper etched in for just like $60 or something. So that was like our center point. We're like, okay, we got something. And then we got like the cool big orange, Bitcoin orange leather chair. We made it a big space. We're like, okay, we could have a meetup here. But quickly, we decided that we realized we're running out of space in Thailand. To just kind of segue back to your question, how I arrived here. One of the things on my pros and cons list was, where's there a Bitcoin community? Because I had just came from El Salvador's adopting Bitcoin. And I'm like, this is fucking awesome, dude. I want to go where there are people. So I heard of the Bitcoin meetup they have here on the Thursday nights each week. Great. But I recognized that was a social event, and I think we needed something a little more Bitcoin focused.
Right.
It's a nice way to say it. So when we built this, we came because they already had an establishing thing, had a great relationship with him. He loved it. He's like, this is what I wanted to do. But at the time when he started the meetup, which is the longest running one in Southeast Asia since 2016, there wasn't enough people to have like a Bitcoin center. So then we had the first floor, the first meetup was about having meetups. The first meetup was, what do you guys want it to look like? And there were 25 people there. And so the next meetup, we had 50 people. And it's like, we've got to build this space. So we just said, maybe we built this beautiful second floor, which is awesome. And you see how it's a very open environment. But now when we have meetups, and if you look at like the digital nomad, like the trail that they go on, it's like Medellin and down in Mexico and like Playa del Carmen and Bali, and Chiang Mai is one of them. So that you have a pretty big expat community that comes here. So there are a lot of them, but they didn't really come out of the woodwork because maybe they don't drink, maybe that it's out of the way, maybe Thursdays don't work for them. So we started having this formal meetup of like self-custody or inheritance. The Bitcoiners that have been around for a while were like, that's my jam. They didn't want to go do 101, what is Bitcoin? So we built the second floor, and then now, and the third floor, which we'll get to, but now we stream to the first floor. But as I spent time in El Salvador, I'm like, I'm not going to just make this a week. I'm going to make this 3 weeks or 4 weeks. I went around to all the different cities or the little villages, it's not really cities, outside of El Salvador. Went to the different lakes, the different volcanoes, went hiking. And really, like, Bitcoin is not really well known at the time or accepted. Or like, you had to kind of really try to like look at who's been there that's accepted Bitcoin. Or maybe they'll say they accept Bitcoin, but when you go to pay, they don't. That was a challenge I had.
Okay.
So it was cool. Like, I think in Walmart, I used Bitcoin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know they took it in
I
Walmart.
think it was Walmart or a similar Walmart.
I know some of one of the bigger food markets there accept Bitcoin when I was there.
What was it?
I didn't try it myself. I was mostly in Bitcoin Beach, so it was all, coffee, food, lightning, stuff like that. But
Bitcoin Beach works good.
Yeah.
But I think, like, to answer your question about difference between here and there, like, I couldn't really live there. I couldn't live here, and I could live.
Okay.
Yeah, it's super cool. But maybe maybe it's great for people that live in that side of the world that need to be close to work, close to family. If you're only a few hours away from North America.
Well, that's the biggest thing too. And you and I are both from over there too, but we've decided to come this way too. So there, if I can just admire the Bitcoin water bottles you guys have here and to take a quick sip here. These are pretty cool as well.
These are like the last few.
Oh, really? A whole lot of this.
We decided to up it. We get like pallets of these because it's actually cheaper to print these than it is to buy them at the store regular here.
Oh, really?
It's cheaper.
Okay.
So it's a cool little fun thing. So we're getting double the size. Eve literally ordered it yesterday. So we get it in 7 days. So that's kind of cool. And they'll be bigger. So you'll be here. You'll see it.
Yeah, awesome. Looking forward to that. So yeah, we've seen price dip a little bit. We're expecting big things in the next year. But you have a few different initiatives with this learning center here, and maybe you could just kind of give us a recap of some of the things you guys are doing.
We have three major classes or meetups. One is native Thai, in Thai only. What is Bitcoin for the locals? And that's a big initiative. Then we have an introduction to Bitcoin. What is Bitcoin 101 for international people that are interested? That could be taught by international Bitcoiners or myself. And then we have what we call the advanced Bitcoin meetup. That's our most popular one. Like we exceed capacity every single time we do it. So, and we have to not take more people, which is crazy. And then what we also do is we do formal academic research on how Bitcoin could help disadvantaged or marginalized communities in northern Thailand. So Phi is a professor from, she graduated at CMU, the top university in northern Thailand. She went to school at Texas A&M in America, got her master's there. And she's been a professor at the Chiang Mai Business University here in Chiang Mai for about 10 years, part-time or full-time, depending on, and she's also the director of our foundation. So she's very big in academia. She got a lot of the connections. We said, what is one thing we could really do to help move the needle? And that is, we believe that if we could learn about these different hill tribes and how they interact with money, how inflation affects them the most, how they're banked, how their access to credit is. So we had teamed up with a professor that has published 42 journals, academic, legit journals, which is a huge number. And he helps guide us. And we have 6 staff that work here. You met Neo, you met Eve, the 2 girls downstairs, and Phi. And we take on interns that help us each semester. And they go in the hill tribes, and we gather data and we analyze it, and it's going towards publishing hopefully in the next few months. So that's like a major, I would say that's like a huge initiative. In addition to that, we'll have bigger events. Like in September, we had like a big grand opening for this next floor. We had a Bitcoin Christmas party, which 75 Bitcoiners, like it's a lot of Bitcoiners for one place, to come, and you were here for that.
Yeah.
And so that brings a lot of Bitcoiners together, and they get to network. And so those are our major 4 things. Is our research, our meetups, and then we have a lot of people interested in how that could help in the philanthropy work that we do. And so we just did the coolest thing ever. We flew up the top Nostr people from Bangkok. Are you a Nostr?
I am. Yeah.
So to go into the hill tribes to teach the kids how to access, how to use Nostr. So this is so wild. So we work at these different children's homes, or like for in the West, we call like orphanages, 100 children in this children's home. And we went up there, flew up the 4 kids from the 4 younger adults, 20s, 30s, and broke them up into individual groups. Even Neo was helping. And we were signing them up and getting them onto different Nostr apps. And we have different ones here in the East that you could read it's a little easier than Primal or Damus. There's like Yoki Home and different names. So their first interaction with money wasn't the Thai baht. Their first interaction with money was Bitcoin.
Wow.
Like maybe, and they're not fully grasping it, but they're just, and now like we were able to exchange value, and we're teaching them how to send lightning back and forth. So this is another super cool initiative. It's like helping the kids use social media, and they can get points or sats and repost it. And we could hashtag Hill Tribe, hashtag where they're from. And then people all over the world could follow their progress. So this is another initiative that we recently started. And then we also just got back. I can't take it off the wall. There's a village in northern Thailand in Doi Tao that's completely ran on solar. So we donated Bitcoin miners to this village. And right now we have technicians from India, South America, Thailand, and Colorado, America, working remotely to see how we don't burn the building down and to make sure it's all, because there's a lot of things to do when it's totally remote. And there's not a technician on site. So we're just this morning, we're sending 30-second videos of from that hill tribe. They sent us a screenshot of like the power, the wattage or the ampage or the voltage, a little above my pay grade. So I just send that over to this team, and so this is a super awesome initiative. And the idea is by us donating the miners, they have a lot of excess energy, and we'll split the sats. So when we first did this at the first orphanage, we connected two miners to unused solar, and we were generating at the time 40,000 sats per month pre-halving. I mean, and it might mean 17. It was, at the time, it was like $15 or $17, where the price of Bitcoin was pre-halving, and the two machines wasn't much. But Brad, here's what's fucking awesome. When you look at like how much it would have made over a year's time running every day, if it ran every day, and it's not, we got more donations to the Bitcoin address of the miner in one day from Twitter than it makes in the entire year.
Wow. From
just generous Bitcoiners. And this isn't a grand number, like, $15 times 12 months, like $175. But like, that just shows you the power of connecting this children's home to the Bitcoin network.
Right.
So like the initiatives here just don't end. It's like, Bitcoiners coming here, and now we're talking about Bitcoin, you and I. And like maybe someone's watching one of your podcasts. Right? Oh, there's a Bitcoin community in Chiang Mai. And maybe they bring a different lens, or they want to help onboard merchants here in town, build more of a circular economy. So our purpose is all of these initiatives, but like we're super flexible to expand, like you said, into new territories too.
Yeah, it's really amazing how supporting the Bitcoin community is when you just bring Bitcoin into your business model, or you adopt it in any way. You have some sort of charitable initiative. Folks are really awesome to help out, and even just like talking and educating, like reaching out for podcast guests. People are so very willing to help in this community. So it's really great. But question for you, Jimmy, is you could be somewhere down there on a private beach and just disappear off the map and live a good life. What makes you want to expand and keep driving this Bitcoin adoption and really helping out the community like the way you are?
Yeah, that's such a great question, because I had to wrestle with this as we built the foundation in the bear market as a hardcore Bitcoiner. So like I wanted, I was still stacking sats. My for-profit organization's still very strong at the time and still going today. But I had to decide, like, make a decision in my life and say, well, at what point, like, what's enough? Like, what are you going to do? How could I impact the most people? How can I help the most people? What can I do? And I'm like, well, I don't want to start another for-profit thing, because my Bitcoin brain went, and my fiat, I just can't put them together anymore. I just don't want to do it. Like, well, why don't I just help educate children in English? Because I believe it's the most powerful thing that we could do. It opens the most doors, and it's the most cost-effective thing. So let's just start teaching English. And so it worked out perfect. My partner, Phi, who's the co-founder of the building, and she's our director. She's perfectly fluent in English and Thai, and she's got all the academia doors. So yeah. I wanted to start with that, and then I realized, okay, well, this is great, but really we have this one big window, this like what I believe is like Saylor says, a 10-year gold rush window to help people in finance. So why don't we shift the business, the nonprofit foundation, from just teaching English into savings, just savings, introducing this new savings technology to as many people as possible, the wealthiest people in town, the poorest people in town, because we could show them month by month, year by year, and we totally talk about like longer term horizons. And this was never possible to teach about saving. You couldn't teach about it because of the debasement of your currency, or the inflation, or the loss of purchasing power of everyone. So this was never real. It's like, holy shit, this is a grand opportunity to teach about savings. So I said, okay, I could help as many people as possible. And even if we fell short by 90%. We still helped hundreds, if not thousands of people. So I said, okay, let's just keep building and keep going until we can't do it anymore.
When I Google I just put in Bitcoin on Google, this is the place that comes up, right? Like it's, you're really putting Bitcoin on a map in Chiang Mai here. So it's really cool. What could you say to Bitcoiners that are looking to maybe go abroad and maybe they want to help out in the Bitcoin community or get involved, coming to Chiang Mai? Like, what would you say to them? And is there any possibility for them to get involved here, and in what ways?
So I would say like anyone that's in Bitcoin that maybe that's too big of a leap, and how they could help if, because everyone's trying to find a way into Bitcoin.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you're currently doing in your life right now that you might have a skill in or an interest, more the interest, talk about that, and then just add a Bitcoin layer to it. If you provide a service or product, put the sticker on the wall, get the conversation going. This is just these little things matter.
Mm-hmm.
Like all these little efforts add up. So I think if you can't get and hop across to a new country, first do that. But if you have the confidence, enough savings, an opportunity to work remotely, being out in another country, it works. I mean, like what my bills would have been in America, in Florida, in the lifestyle I had, would have been $100,000. It's just an easy number per year. Here, that same lifestyle, and I'm able to do way more, it would be closer to $35,000. And I could go out to eat more.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to just share, Brad, the most important thing as a Bitcoiner, where deciding where to live as Bitcoin proliferates or grows, is safety. You want to be safe.
Mm-hmm.
And in Chiang Mai, Thailand, you could zigzag in a big X across the city at 2:00 in the morning and not have a problem. I mean, that is so huge.
Mm-hmm.
And there is, so you're going to look at like guys like you and I, the weather, Chep, the infrastructure of shower pressure, running water, power, everything. People think like Thailand's like, whatever they think it is.
Shitting in buckets.
Yeah. Like there's no toilets, or like you got to eat like just rice.
Yeah.
Like, no, we have everything you have.
Yeah.
It's just that our food doesn't go through manufacturing, production plants, distribution. It goes from like the farm behind the restaurant to your plate.
Mm-hmm.
And you walk around and you see like, why isn't everybody overweight here? So, well, there are trade-offs too, like the incomes that you'd earn in the East, the economic opportunities are not like North America. So there are some switches, but if you could come to answer, taste it, come taste it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I asked you, I said, so when are you going back? And you kind of looked at me like, do you mean to see my family? I'm like, oh, another one,
yeah.
So I feel like you've tasted it. And I think that you see all the advantages. And I feel like you have, wrote your pros and cons list, and the pros appear to be outweighing the cons.
Yes. Coming from Canada, the weather's top for me, right? Like maybe if I was a little bit older, healthcare might be the number one thing. But for me, it's, I'm a relatively healthy human being. So being out here, having that weather and the affordable lifestyle, and like you said, being able to go out, eat more, all these different things that you can get out here are really amazing. But like, it's all circumstantial in what you can do with your life, right? So what do you like to do when you're not, at doing stuff Bitcoin related here in Chiang Mai?
So Bitcoin's now ingrained in,
Mm-hmm.
like it's Bitcoin.
Yeah.
But we travel. So like it's not like traveling in the West. If you want to go from here to another major city, it's like $50, and you don't have to book it 2 weeks ago. Like you want to go tomorrow, it's going to be like $60. Like that massage you're talking about is $10 for 90 minutes without a tip.
Right.
Like this quality of life. Like when I go to the doctor, like I went to the doctor like 2 years ago because I had like tennis elbow or something, and I thought he was going to check it out. And it was like a family doctor,
mm-hmm.
Like through the family is a top guy. It just happened to be that way. And so he's like, okay, it's this. I'm like, all right, cool. It sounds like, he's talking in English. And then he's like, all right, Teresa or whoever, come here. Like she brings in the needle, like, whoa, 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 this is going to happen right now? So he injected like a steroid into the muscle part. That was a problem right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't like, come back for your next appointment, take these 2 Tylenols, or when the car or the truck or the motorbike needs a tire, like you just go another 100 meters to the place.
Right.
And they're ready to take your product or service. The economy is a little different, but like you could get at a super nice place for $500 a month. That's not a joke. I mean, people look at these podcasts, these videos, and like, show me. Come to my house.
Yeah.
Like it's such a cool thing. So, but you have to be open-minded. You're going to have trade-offs. You're going to be away from your family. You're not going to have the Western opportunities unless you're super good working remotely. You have to have discipline, because when your life gets like this, it's very easy to just go out partying till 3 a.m. all the time, or just chilling all the time, or stay in the pool, and you don't want to get mixed up in the wrong. You don't want to go down the wrong path, because you have an opportunity to watch Bitcoin, hyper Bitcoinization in real time, and if you could be healthy and enjoy all this, I think if you could make it across from where you are into a new place, at least just come taste it, test it, go home, and see if it's for you.
Right. I totally agree with you on the temptation part. It's very easy to come out here and just, dive into, eating double than what you need, and, going to the massage every day and this and that, and taking advantage of all the things that, all the pros that are out here. Right. So, but I think maybe we should, you mentioned hyper Bitcoinization. So I want to use that as a transition to go into everybody's favorite topic, price predictions for this cycle. You kind of said something earlier where I kind of have an idea of where you think we're going, but maybe more explicitly, if you don't mind, with a grain of salt for the viewers, and not financial advice, of course. Where do you think we're going this cycle? Top and bottom and correction.
So I try my best to not like get too excited on something that I try to be very conservative, but I also am very hopeful, and I try to point all the dots together. So like I'll listen to I'll take a select group of people, but I'll make sure I don't have just some bearish negative guy in my or podcaster or influencer like to outbalance me. I do like try to stay I try to stay like somewhat sane, because it's very easy to get caught up in these bullshit headlines. $1 million a cycle, $2 million a cycle. Like, come on, I'm so on your team. Mm-hmm. I want us to win.
Right, right. And a lot of those headlines too are like, they give you the price prediction, but they don't give you the timeline. So it's like, yeah, we're going to hit every price eventually, but when?
So when I first, a year ago, and I would always write this down, like I'd always look at it when I'm on an airplane, because I lose cell. Here you don't have the internet because of short flights. And I was like, okay, in 2024, my top prediction, I was like, if we hit 100,000. I'm like, that was my target based on all my calculations. I'm like, the most likely, unlikely, 100,000 is my conservative bet.
That's what you're saying last year?
I was saying last year.
Okay.
And that was when it's 43, 45,
right,
50. So I'm saying at the worst case, I think that this time or Christmas next year, I say at my bear case for 150,000. But that's just to not let anybody down. And it's so much nicer when you go into something and your expectations are exceeded.
Right.
Now, what me and my brother are talking about all the time, every day on Next, is like, we see 275,000 this year.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
And I listen to like the Jack Rosses and everyone that's got 475,000, 450. I listen to Jack Mahler's, everybody on like, they've all got these higher ones. But again, I think if you could just set yourself up saying, listen, how would my life be cool? How would I feel at 150,000? Would I be cool? Like, would I be all in, or would I shift significant part of my allocations in? Would I be content? But when you have all of this, yesterday we had $1 billion of Bitcoin purchased by ETFs. ETFs are just coming. Here comes clarity. There's so many companies becoming on the Bitcoin standard. The supply dynamics and the demand dynamics are through the roof. If you just look up the Bitcoin coming off of exchanges, it just looks like that suddenly part is about to happen. So I really do think that we could go anywhere in this cycle from where we are now from here to 400. But I do think 400,000 would be like pretty heavy. But I think 275,000 is what I'm talking about offline.
Except we're online. So you think like 150 would be like the correction, like when it comes down from
that's
highs. Okay. Okay. I like that prediction. And I appreciate the realistic predictions. You know,
I know everybody wants more, but come on.
I like the realistic. You know, last cycle, everybody thought, 100K easily, and we didn't hit it. It was super disappointing. So I think it's good we base ourselves and put our expectations in reality. And if it goes higher than that, then we're happier. That's the way to go. But you mentioned a couple people there. You name dropped a few people and that you watch and everything. Well, what are some of your favorite resources in this space, whether it be books, podcasts, or other?
I love listening to Lynn Alden, James Lavish, Luke Roman, Preston Pish. I'm really big on Preston Pish's podcast. Natalie Burnell, her podcasts are great. I think like what Bitcoin did was great. Still good. These were like where I kind of zero my time in. Jeff Booth from Canada. I went all the way towards the process of becoming a contributor to Ego Death Capital's fund number 2. So I really like Jeff Booth's stuff. These names are the ones that I suggest. I put them on the bottom of some of our slides for our meetups, so you can go online and see like at the end of it what books we recommend, what podcasts we recommend, what videos we recommend. Obviously, like the Safedines and all, and I'll be like the Michael Saylors, but like, and at night, like before I'm getting ready for bed, I'll listen to a lot of the traditional finance that's coming into Bitcoin. Of course, like every time, I get ready for on Sundays. So the times are different here. We're a little bit ahead. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, we're quite a bit ahead.
Quite a bit ahead.
Where are you? Yeah.
So it's like, so you start seeing some movement, like on Sundays, you start getting like a vibe. And like the sailors, the last 6 or 7 weeks, he kind of hints at like, oh, that blue dot, on the sailortracker.com.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So, and then 24 hours later, he announces how much Bitcoin he's purchased. So follow all that. But I don't really like to follow like the big hype guys too much. I like Pomp. We had talked about Pomp earlier. It's grounded. I really resonate with Pomp. But these resources are good. And then out here in Thailand, specifically in Thailand, Right Shift is out of Bangkok. They've got a great crew. We team up with all the surrounding countries, and we let them come here too. So we learn from their different resources as well. I just think I want it to become more. Well, it's going to become more than just like an English thing. It's like here we're in Thailand. I'm really, really wanting like a native Thai, diehard, passionate Bitcoiner to show up here that could rap a little bit in English pretty well. And just like say, okay, because I'm a visitor in Thailand. We're international expats. We are expats. Let's help Thai people. Like, let's kind of turn it over or let them kind of run with it here. So I want all those resources to help realize we don't got to just do this in English because there's 190 other countries. We want to see Bitcoin, hyper Bitcoinization happen everywhere because everywhere needs it more than just the West. Everybody needs it.
Right. Yeah. Language barrier is a big one too. And explaining something as complex as Bitcoin, for a lot of people and users is just, buying and holding. And that's the most important part. But, for those hardcore Bitcoiners that we want to see, that is a little bit challenging trying to explain all those things.
We actually purchase more Bitcoin standards in Thai than I've ever purchased any book before. So we buy more Bitcoin books in Thai that we give away.
They're translated.
Yeah, there's maybe one or two right there on the fiat standard, and there's some downstairs in the library.
Okay.
Is there one right there, Neo? So it's funny because we purchased I've never purchased 30 books and gave them away in English, even to like my family there. Oh, this is a great book. But here in Thailand, I purchased these Bitcoin books that you'll see right here.
Oh, great. Thank you.
And you can see, like, when you just open up in the middle of the book, you'll just see it's in time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
One of
Some plane tickets in here as well.
what is it?
Some plane tickets.
Is there?
Where are you going? Cool, man. Yeah.
These are the 4 books that
Wow.
are translated in Thailand.
Okay.
You have 3 of them. And I think there's one more.
Yeah, I didn't know that these came
Inventing
in
Bitcoin. So you have
Inventing Bitcoin.
Layer Money, Fiat Standard, Bitcoin Standard, and Inventing Bitcoin. Oh, you have them all right there.
Yeah, got them all here. Just kind of going one by one here. Yeah, I didn't know that all these were printed in Thai. Very cool.
Yep. So
Right shift. Okay.
This he's big podcaster, big influencer. His team translates that. The publisher.
Very cool. Flip those around for the camera there.
Yeah.
See the collection.
That's kind of like those are some core books that we'd recommend. Like when you what resources?
Yeah.
This is what we give here in Thailand.
That's great. To dive into, like, we're looking at a lot of Bitcoin only books here to kind of extract a little bit of your philosophy here. Is there a second best crypto asset, Jimmy?
No.
No. Okay.
No. And I try hard to like meet people where they are, because until you determine that there is not, then I have to help you see. I have to help you see where, from my lens, you are missing something. So I had just told you when we had the technical problem about my friend who's like still in crypto world. Still, it's like, well, it's gonna go up. It's like, but like, what are you trying to solve? Like, what is the second? What legitimately, like, honestly, like, well, I don't know. Let's look at a chart. Like, what is the second best producing thing? What was it? Like, it's not the S&P 500 or whatever it is. It's just so far away from what Bitcoin is. Like, and you can even pick your number. Is Bitcoin compounding at 50%, 80%? Depends on where you choose your number. Like Joe Burnett says, it's compounding at 100% per year. It is. If you average it out over 10 years and you look at it.
Right, depending on how many years you look at it, depends on if you go all the way back, then it's pretty damn high.
1,000%.
Yeah.
But like, but let me ask you, Brad. Like, okay, let me ask you this. We're in a world where there's no Bitcoin, but you must, for your life, for $1 million briefcase, you got to choose. And there's no Bitcoin in the world.
Yeah.
But you must choose what's going to be the best performing asset this year. What would it be? You can't be wrong.
I can't be wrong.
Can't be wrong. Like life or death.
Life or death.
What is it?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I got some NVIDIA stock. I don't know. Maybe.
All right, you're going to go in on NVIDIA.
Wait, are you saying like there's no blockchain projects at all?
No.
It's just old world legacy finance. Yeah. Where would I go? I don't know. Yeah, I'd probably be in some sort of stock, be maybe more invested in real estate, I guess.
Doesn't that feel like a little scary?
Well, yeah, I had a lot less hope for the world in general when without Bitcoin, it was like, oh man, we're in this cycle of broken money and financial system. And then, for me, my background was politics in school. So I kind of learned about the corruption, how much corruption was in it. And I learned about Bitcoin. I'm like, this really cuts the head off the snake of corruption. I'm like, and that's kind of what really made me very passionate about Bitcoin was kind of that aha moment for me. So I guess I would be less hopeful, but I would still invest my money. But I like the idea of buying Bitcoin, holding it, knowing nothing's going to change, knowing, there's no malicious actors that can just change everything on a whim, or, it's just bulletproof money, really.
So let's say you have a strong income. The year is 2030. Bitcoin's at $1 million. You just got paid. You got extra income. Where are you putting that?
I can't keep it in Bitcoin.
Paid, you got an extra $1,000. What'd you say? You got an extra $2,000. But no, you can put it in Bitcoin.
Okay.
You can put it. Where are you going to put your money?
Yeah, putting it in Bitcoin.
You put $1 million.
Yeah.
See?
Yeah.
There is no second best.
Right.
Even at $1 million. It's like so. Like even us. They've been around for 7 or 8 years now. It's like, dude, I've got to buy Bitcoin. I'm getting paid at the end of the month. If Bitcoin's whatever it is, I've got to buy it. forever.
Yeah.
For the next 30, even when it gets to like it's mature space, hopefully in 20 or 30 years, it's done such good things to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm healthier. I'm happier. I'm hopeful.
Mm-hmm.
I'm grateful. I'm able to give now and forever. So even if Bitcoin's only doing whatever number it's doing, thank you. And like every 4 years when it drops from that massive fucking 3 years that it just did, thank you. Like I'm all into, like I can't imagine a world where we don't have this. And I'm so grateful that God gave us this time to be living in this human transition.
Mm-hmm.
And our objective, what we should be doing, is helping as many people as possible learn about the savings technology.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we built this place.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that there is no second best, because even if it's a down year or up year, or it's $1 million or $3 million Bitcoin, we're still stacking sats at $3 million.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There's no second best.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And, it's the point that has to be communicated to a lot of people in the space. What are we at market dominance right now? Maybe 50% Bitcoin market dominance?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah, it says that. But
Yeah.
I wonder how legitimate that is. Like,
okay, you're skeptical of how.
I'm a little skeptical of that.
Okay.
I think it's high.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. How does that, like, why do you think it's higher than the reported numbers are?
Like I hate even giving these things their names. Like Pepe's $5 billion market cap.
Oh,
or
yeah.
like,
Right.
like, how do we arrive there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, a lot of this feels fabricated.
Right.
Even though I see how they're doing their math, but what is the truth? Like, so I don't know. Like, yeah. Anyway, I don't want to go off on that tangent.
Well, and no, it's true. How many people are holding those coins that are just this close to swapping it back to Bitcoin, even, right? Like,
yeah.
Or how liquid are some of these projects?
Liquid are these?
Yeah, well, not very.
No.
So
that's just,
yeah.
And once you get down the list,
oh, worse it gets. Yeah. And another thing too is what people have to do is make sure to measure their coins, their alternative coins in Bitcoin and not dollars, because everything's going up against the dollar. But you start measuring over Bitcoin over the years, it's like, oh shit, I'm losing Bitcoin. I need to put that into Bitcoin before these other altcoins. Even Ethereum's done poorly against Bitcoin.
It hasn't reached its all-time high.
Right. Yeah. It
hasn't gone back there. But like, what are you trying to achieve with those? Like, like, is 100%, is 50% or to 100% a year not good enough for you? Like,
right.
What do you?
I know.
What risky and how silly do you have to be?
Right.
Like, the S&P on average over all those years is like 10%, which is kind of tracking with empty money supply expansion, 7 or 8%.
Yeah.
But like, okay, so if you could get to something better and you're not having to like do the paperwork of renting out your house and fixing and flipping and documents and taxes and fucking maintenance and problems and people and Jesus, like why wouldn't you take the least risky thing possible that has the greatest possible outcome with the greatest possible gains, which is Bitcoin? But people are like, dude, are you really like 99% Bitcoin? Like, I don't tell them that I'm 103% Bitcoin, because that's crazy. It's true, I'm 103%. Like, yeah, I am 99. Like I'm like, because that's the least risky thing I could do.
Right.
Oh, and it appreciates at 50% compound annual growth every year.
Right.
By the way. So what are we trying to do with XYZ coin or crypto.com coin? Like, are we hoping that it goes up 50x or something? Because that's not a real world that anybody lives in. And real money isn't playing that game. Just follow the money, right? Real money isn't fucking playing shitcoin casino.
No.
It's speculative gambling.
Right.
Which is what it is.
Right. And that's kind of what we're seeing right now. We're witnessing big institutions purchasing hard asset, which is Bitcoin. They're not putting their money into all these other alternative assets, their digital assets. So I think, follow the money. Like you said, like you can know maybe the stock or this coin is going to outperform Bitcoin. Sure. But are you going to put real money into that? Are you going to and then that gamble? where Bitcoin, you could put real substantial money and feel safe about it and sleep tight at night, where this other stuff, it's probably not going to do what you want it to do long term. It's not going to appreciate compared to Bitcoin. So another thing I want to ask you, because of your ties to academia here, do you feel like that's sometimes challenging? Does Bitcoin break any traditional academia models that brings challenges to that? Or getting maybe people from universities in on Bitcoin? Because I've conversed with professors back home before, and they call it a bubble, and it's like, how are these people not educated enough to look into a little bit more than just calling it a bubble off the hop?
Same problem everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
You have. I think by the work we're doing, that we help build churches, we help build schools, we help build bathrooms, we help build dormitories, we help provide scholarships for these children.
Mm-hmm.
Doing this work is like, what are they doing? Why are they doing that? How are they doing that? So I believe by building and helping society, non-Bitcoin related, and letting them peel apart the onion, what is that? What is their, why is this happening? How are they able to do this?
Mm-hmm.
And then instead of having to pitch it to the people that don't want to hear it, or the academia that are just too damn smart already, that are just, I made my mind up kind of people. No. And so we have these major events where, a Christmas party, there's $100 million in this building. What? How? Unless you're the royal fucking family in Thailand, you're not having that at your dinner party.
Right.
Why? So people are like, what is this? And as you get that number go up, technology happening, people are more familiar. So we don't break down the door. We don't say, hey, could we come teach you? We just start doing what we know how to do best, helping people that are interested, teaching savings classes that are curious. Thai people like to gamble a little bit, so they want to get into the new thing. Well, we could save them by teaching them the right way. Maybe it's not this million X and all this crazy stuff, but reality, and we teach them the Bitcoin. So we build it, and they find us that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's
okay.
more.
Right. Yeah. More of a natural way of doing things. And I mean, and like you said, when you're talking about the compound interest on Bitcoin, what 100% isn't good enough. Like a lot of these people, when you're a young person, if you're, 15, 20, 25 years old and you have Bitcoin at your hands, that's more than enough to get to where you want to be at a really great time in your life and look forward to a lot of things in life. So
may I mention what's so important now too? It's figured out Bitcoin, and now what? So now we're moving towards self-custody. So our foundation is actively going to be studying self-custody for the foreseeable future. Because most people ask us, what is your business model? How do you do this? How do you afford this? How do you afford staff? Everybody, they always want to call, they want to say, but I don't get it. Are you charging? Is it what, how?
I had the same questions when I first came across it. I'm like, what's going on? What's funding this place?
Yeah. And we get the same question over and over, and it's a great question. But fortunately, the foundation is supported by my company in the West. So we haven't had to allocate Bitcoin just yet to fund the business, to fund the foundation, but that will come. So people always say, how could I do what you're doing? How can we raise a big building and have all this staff and do all these projects and build all these things? I was like, well, find someone that's been in Bitcoin that wants to do philanthropy and get to work and tell him to do all the shit you don't want to do and do that and find out what he wants to do or find out what she wants to do. And build around them and just do that. Say, hey, what is your goal? I know you don't want to do everything, but I'm a Bitcoiner. And I know that, you've been in Bitcoin for a while and you're passionate about saving the gorillas or the elephants or the zebras in Africa. How could I help? Let me be your admin. Let me start there. There's a lot of people ask that, I don't understand and get it. So now what we want to do is we want to help people protect their Bitcoin. So we're just yesterday, we had a meeting, all 7 of us, about self-custody and our path forward. And also it gives a skill set to all of our staff to teach them about cybersecurity, all the different ways to protect all the different hardware devices and all the different optionalities. And so I believe that if we could have our entire team just become the experts, is like over 100 hours of studies that I'm going to be doing side by side with them. We're already tracking our time, is that this is a service that we'll be able to offer. And here's what's so crazy, Brad. In the West, like Neo and I were sitting together the other day, and was it 1,500 euro for the standard security onboarding for, I don't want to mention just the different company names, but like there's the great companies of the world, like the Costas and the Unchanged and the Bitcoin Advisors and the Bitcoin Way. But guess what? Here in Thailand, like we have high quality guys that just graduated university with honors, and we pay above wages, and we could do things substantially more cost effective for Southeast Asia. So instead of charging crazy numbers, we're going to charge consulting. So we're going to charge roughly, our numbers now are like 4,000 baht, which is like 160 Canadian dollars or $120 US for just consultation. And since we're a nonprofit foundation, we don't have the drivers of needing to make big profits. We literally just want to help you. Like I told them, we're going to talk to people like they're your family. You're going to fucking tell them they don't need our help. They can do it themselves. So the first 15-minute like consultation or 30-minute free consultation is encouraging them you could do it yourself. But if they're going to contact you, they probably want a little bit of help.
Right.
And so here, like you saw that we had a technical thing, and he was able to run out and get a wire like in the middle of the day in Thailand. It's crazy. We'll go to their house, on the golf course or wherever, or you could come to the Bitcoin. You can see the boardroom in there, which is private. We'll teach you about your seed. So we don't have to have like a big application or get involved in transactions. We just want to help people because we know where the world is going. We know that Bitcoin is going to mature and start saturating, and we want to get ahead of it. And what is the best thing we could do other than educating people on savings? The second best thing we could do is help protect their savings. So this is our new focus, our new direction. And I look forward to like another podcast in a few months together, so you could follow up and see where we are. Because I'm really excited about what we're doing in Southeast Asia. Because I think it's a really helpful, useful thing that's affordable and reasonable for people in this region.
Yeah, no, it's a big ideal of Bitcoin is self-custody, and many people say it is the revolution is self-custody. So it is a big step when you first get into Bitcoin, learning about Bitcoin, what is it and how do I get some, how do I benefit from it? But self-custody is a big one. It's a really big responsibility for people to take it. And it's a little bit nerve-wracking, like even myself being around, probably almost as long as you, but like every time I do a transaction, I think about it twice or three times and double check, triple check, right? Like it's a big thing, right? To be fully responsible for your own wealth. Now you've talked to people all over the world about Bitcoin and educating people. What would you say is the biggest misconception about it?
If you buy Bitcoin on Robinhood or the exchange, the big misconception is that that's your Bitcoin.
That's a really good one.
Because it's not. It's not your Bitcoin.
Right. And that ties into what we're just saying.
And one challenge we have in developing nations, especially like Southeast Asia, or I would say 100 countries, is you can't purchase small amounts of Bitcoin, because when Bitcoin's at $1 million, the transaction fee is going to be so high, your small UTXOs are going to be too small to make it. The transaction is going to cost just as much as the Bitcoin. So we have to think through how to educate people on buying Bitcoin instead of buying it, $10 every other day, and creating these individual UTXOs. We have to help them group them together. Also help the Bitcoin next layers to maybe make it easier, because if you have a salary of $300 a month and you want to try to save $30 a month in Bitcoin, it might be high for that. But say 5%, $15, your salary of $300, we're in a really tough spot. So these are things we got to think through. And
Yep. Okay. I guess Lightning may be a good solution, viable solution. I think
like self-custody Lightning wallets like Phoenix.
Yep.
These are good ways But again, it's something we got to work through. We got
The education.
think the future out. We got to map it out.
Mm-hmm.
Last thing you want to do is get someone excited and then really, because even the hardware device is quite expensive compared to an income out here.
Right.
We have cool things like the stamping onto metal, but it's not the plates, the rings.
Yeah, I've seen those. Yeah.
We're talking about that. We had a guy from Australia or somewhere. He came and brought some stuff. So this is a cool way because we can't afford hardware here, the native.
Right.
So we got to start that way.
Okay. So I was going to ask, like, what people are coming here or people from here getting into Bitcoin, they want a hardware wallet. Where can people get a hardware wallet? And...
So we just applied to become a reseller for Trezor.
Okay.
So that's one bridge. We have the team over the next few weeks that's going to go through all of the hardware devices that we can, from everything from Cold Card and Ledger. And we have this BitKey downstairs and Bitbox. So we're going, there's a twofold thing here. Well, we're going to be a reseller, but if you're a Bitcoiner, you got $1 million baht, 3 million baht, you got $100,000. Like, you're really getting into it. We have to teach you some things because you're supposed to buy directly from the manufacturer. But I understand many people in our orbit, they don't care about these things. They're still so in the fiat world that they haven't, they don't recognize all of these potential things. And they might think we're being a little too nitpicky, but we will have, say, 10 or 20 hardware devices that will show like we purchased it. Here's the receipt. Here's the shipping divided by however many, because we're not trying to make money on this.
Right.
But we'll be the local reseller for some hardware that we find. We don't necessarily love like Ledger's function of if you after 3 attempts it locks the device. If you get the password wrong, I don't love that. I do like Ledger. I'm just saying I don't love it. Because, nowadays we have so many passwords and like this password has to be 6 numbers or 6 characters, 12 characters, funny characters, numbered letters. And then you have so many passwords.
Yeah.
So maybe I might enter mine the 4th time and I got to lock it. Now I got to make sure I got my seed words. Where the fuck are they? So I can do this whole thing.
Right.
So, we got 15 attempts with Trezor. There's things to think through.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's good to know that you guys are getting to that space to help people come in here. And that's something I've considered as well is, getting your device from the manufacturer. And it all comes down to level of entropy and, how security minded are you, right? And, those hardcore Bitcoiners are going to come here and they're going to love to see that. But a lot of new people, new faces are going to be like, what are you talking about, man? Like, you're crazy. Just give me the device.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's a big spectrum. Like,
yeah, it is a big spectrum.
Yeah, that's
our meetup
cool.
for big spectrums too.
Right.
We have a self-custody class coming up in 2 weeks. You'll be here. Hopefully. Oh, you might be.
I might be in Vietnam, but yeah. Oh no, I'll be here.
The 24th or 24th.
I'll be here. Yep.
And you'll have guys that'll want me to teach multi-sig on Sparrow, literally generating your own derivation paths and fucking creating multi-sig, which is fun.
Yeah.
But everybody in the room, we have to be mindful.
Like
we have many people that are coming to the meetup to learn about self-custody. I know you 3 want to play that. Let's play it later on a Tuesday at 1:00.
Yeah.
But there's people that are like so happy to have a Bitcoin building. They're just so happy. And they're so much more advanced than I am in many ways. And they're all, like you just said, this whole spectrum, from security to how they think it through. But at least we have a place where we could all hash it out and talk it out and try to help as many people in a more general than technical. And I invite anybody that's super technical, come here and have a technical Thursday, have a technical Friday. Do as much Bitcoin here as you possibly can.
The building to me is great. Like coming here and having a location, a Bitcoin learning center. You guys are, working on your 3rd floor upstairs.
Show you after.
Yeah. Well, actually, I was going to ask you right from the interview. Maybe I could hit record on my phone and do a walkthrough if you don't mind. I just want to ask you one or two more questions before we start that. I know we're at the hour mark here, but we're in Thailand. In a Bitcoin world, and it might be foreign to a lot of people here. Have you encountered any regulatory or legal challenges?
I was at lunch to Monday, 2 days ago. I was at lunch yesterday, 2 days ago, with somebody that I won't mention names. I'm not sure how public it should be. That was just in the room with Dr. Tatskin, who is the former prime minister of Thailand.
Wow.
Discussing Bitcoin.
Big.
His daughter is the prime minister. So this is the president of the country.
And this is a newly formed government here?
No, still there's some political challenges with the new government.
Okay.
But that's way outside of my purview.
Okay.
I'll just share what I understand.
Okay.
So Dr. Thatchkin, how do I pronounce it properly? Toxin. When I read it, I'm not really good with the word. Toxin. He had introduced a Bitcoin sandbox in Thailand, which is like a pilot program for how Bitcoin would be accepted or transactions would happen in Thailand. And they call it a sandbox because they're going to potentially deploy it in a region first. So that would be Phuket first. This is what came out of the meeting last week, from what I understand.
Okay.
Phuket first and Chiang Mai second.
Wow.
Then this is potentially in 9 months from now. So October. So let's see how close I am to this materializing, because I'm sure there's so many variables. Mm-hmm. But Thailand being such a tourist, a lot of their GDP comes from tourism, that they see a huge opportunity here. And the prime minister understands Bitcoin. And at the meeting I had, the guy I was having the meeting with told me that Toxin loves Bitcoin because when he wants to invest, he's not manipulating the price of AIS or a public stock. When he gets invested, it's like people all eyes on it, and it's just because his weight or his bravado or his reputation, it changes the dynamics of the investment. It raises questions, but he loves Bitcoin. This is what he heard. And he said that everybody else in the room, maybe like three of the three people out of like a dozen or 24 people in the room, really got Bitcoin. So people close to him get it. And even though he's not the acting president or prime minister, his daughter is. And this is good. So this is the little pieces that, this is so recent, as you asked, is it currently illegal to transact in a different currency here? No, we'll save it. There is some workarounds and some middleman stuff, but, and there's a few places that accept Lightning. It's very small. It's not like this prohibition under the radar, hey, let's do a Lightning transaction. So it's like, you can't turn a supermarket into just Lightning.
Right.
But yeah, so anyway, that's kind of on that spectrum of what you're talking about.
Okay.
And let's see how that materializes. Thailand is really uniquely positioned for Bitcoin adoption. And if it does materialize to start from Phuket and then to Chiang Mai, here we are. And people are going to come asking questions.
Right. This is going to be the main hub.
This will be the main hub for Southeast Asia, because there's not a building like this in Southeast Asia. So we've got to do the work now to make sure that our team is experts in one specific area. This is protecting the Bitcoin, even on a large threshold way, corporate. So when these banks and everyone wants to know, we can educate about Bitcoin, but what we're really, really good at is just self-custody, collaborative custody, multi-signature. This is what we want to specialize in, just this. But we're happy to host and answer questions. And we could have, and other Bitcoiners are a text away on my WhatsApp or whatever, if I need to speak Thai to an official. So we have to be mindful and thoughtful that we are at that place where we have to provide quality environment for people to come learn.
Right. Right. And I think you've done a great job. I'm looking forward to seeing how this expands with your plans and what you said about the regulatory environment. It sounds like it could be an exciting year. And as we see price go up, we always see people be a lot more friendly towards Bitcoin. I'm thinking maybe we can do that tour now. We just give us a tour. I'll start recording on my phone and then you can...
That was fun, Brad. Thank you.
Yeah, man.